In one sentence, how would you describe Grandi Langhe?
Too short.
Italian Wine Travel with Stevie Kim.
Welcome back. This is Grandi Langhe 2026 Day 2, and our guest, I'm so honored. I saw her actually at the tasting room yesterday, and I just said, Mary Ewing-Mullingan. It is such an honor. She is the OG of, and she's a Master of Wine. When did you become a Master of Wine? You were like one of the first, right?
93, I was the first woman resident in America.
That's so amazing. And now you are still, and you started also the International Wine Center, which is a WSET provider, right? And is it different, WSET America and the UK? How does it work?
No, it's an organization that is from the UK, and they sort of, I don't know what you would call it, license maybe, independent wine schools to do their curriculum. And it doesn't prevent us from doing other curricula.
Right.
But honestly, since we brought those, we were the first, I was the first to bring their programs to the United States in 1994. And since we brought them, the demand is such that we don't have time, we don't have the space in classrooms to do other things.
So currently, how give me kind of an idea as to the size and the scale of your wine school? Because now, of course, there's so many. I'm actually also a WSET provider in Verona, but in Italy it's very slow. The WSET hasn't quite caught up yet. So you're in New York City, in Midtown.
I'm in New York City, and International Wine Center existed as a wine school since 1982.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so we already had a following of students, but not for the WSET programs. And so when we introduced them, there was a great response, and it touched into the trade sector of students, not just the consumers. And the response is great. We do about 1,000 students a year. We have 2 classrooms. Well, we have a physical space. That's one of the things. I think it's a blessing, and at times, like during COVID, it was a curse to have to pay for a physical space in Manhattan.
What happened during COVID? Like, did you convert into online?
We started doing some online, but it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough, and we had to. Fortunately, we had reserves, and so capital reserves, and so we had to stay afloat with that. And it was because of New York State and the laws of New York State, a school like mine was not able to open up. We closed in March. We couldn't open up till October. So we lost most of one entire year. Yes, it's quite
That was harsh, right?
a desperate situation. Yeah.
So now you have about 1,000 students per year. And what are they? Are they mostly wine lovers, or are they coming from trade? What is the profile demographics of your students?
We don't keep precise records, but I can say from seeing them that they're more female than male by a little bit, maybe 60% female. The lower levels are very little in the wine business. If someone's in the wine business, they don't do level 1. They might do level 2 because it's required to get into level 3. But as you get up into the level 3, level 4, you have mostly people in the wine business. And if they're not already, they meet people, they network, and they become.
Right. So, Mary, you, of course, when I started in the wine business about 15 years ago, I used to say I'm kind of a newbie, but I guess I'm not really so new anymore. But of course, the single most important book that, I came to read was, of course, your Wine for Dummies series. the books that you've written with your husband, your late husband.
Yes.
That was such an important book, I think, for the wine world.
Thank you.
Tell us how that came about.
You know, it's funny because in 1993, I became a Master of Wine. That precipitated my being able to bring WSET to the United States, the first school in, the introduction into the United States. And then we helped push the programs into other markets beyond New York. And then in 1995, so it was a quick 1, 2, 3 sequence, we were approached by a publisher who, the Dummies series was very new then.
Right.
And they had, they were only technology books, but I had read Macs for Dummies, which I got quite by accident because I said, I don't need this, I already know Mac computers.
Right.
But I got it from a book club, and my husband would have to take them back to return the books that I got by mistake because I forgot to say do not send.
Right.
So he said, oh, is this another book that you didn't? I said, no, this one I'm keeping. So I kept it to avoid marital stress. And I started reading it, and I was so impressed how it was like an insider's view, that even if you were a user of Macs, it took you behind the scenes and talked about the politics of fonts and all of this kind of thing. And so I had the idea that I wanted to write Wine for Dummies with him.
Oh my God, I think so many people thank you for that.
Yeah, it actually then
Just took off, right?
but they came to me then. It was the strangest thing. It was just one of those moments of flow, when it all happened. And we wrote it in about 3 months.
Wow, that's very fast.
Full-time,
That was prior to AI days.
Yes. That was prior to internet.
Oh my God,
We were sending floppy disks back and forth to Indianapolis.
that's so
No,
amazing.
CDs maybe,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
We were using FedEx to send our...
And have you revised the editions since?
We did 7 editions together. Now there's an 8th, and we are secondary authors on the 8th because when my husband was ill, when Ed was ill, I couldn't handle it. And they tried to work with us and postpone, but there was a demand for an 8th edition.
Yeah.
So now someone else is the primary author.
So
on
what
the 8th
what has changed in terms of wine education, in your opinion, like significant changes since you've started with your wine education journey?
So much, but so little.
So much, but so little. Okay.
So first of all, California wines have come along. I mean, since the mid-'80s, but I entered the wine world in the European period with Italy, France, Germany, Spain. And then California wines took off, really took off, so that instead of becoming Italy, for example, trying to do better than France, it became all of the European countries trying to do better than California. And so that has been a big change. And California wines are so, I feel, easy to understand because of the varietal approach. So Italy has taken on some varietal approach.
Italy's kind of the opposite though, right?
Yes, as is France, but they've gone in the varietal direction to the extent that they feel that it's helpful to the consumer. I'm a typical American who doesn't have a good grasp of geography. I truly did not know where New Zealand was. I confused New Zealand with Newfoundland.
Oh gosh, Mary.
I know, well, we Americans, we're not good in geography.
Okay.
And so New Zealand has come out, Australia has come out, Argentina has completely emerged as a quality producer rather than a bulk cheap producer. Also Chile, South Africa. South African wines were not in our market because of apartheid. They came out. So it's just a total diversity of wine that didn't exist before. So I think now that consumers don't have to know everything about everything, but they have more opportunity to pick a type of wine that they like because they visited there or they're related to that area, and to explore that and have quite a lot of fun doing it.
Right.
Without necessarily knowing the whole world. but the professionals still need to hold.
So
to know
listen,
that.
before we leave, this is your first time to Grandi Langhe, and I saw you in the tasting room. So what have you been doing in the tasting room mostly?
I wanted to taste. I got, everyone who's here got lots of emails saying, "Come visit me, come visit me," and I was interested in how many of them had Timorasso. I decided to taste all the Timorassos.
Okay.
And did that first, and then I started going into the young Barolos, and I'm now done the 2022 Barolos. I'm going to do a quick Barbaresco, and TBD after that.
And so what is your, just like a general impression of the Timorasso and the Barolos you've tasted?
I felt that the Timorassos were overrated. I didn't know. Now we're looking at
Like a big hype.
not a big hype, but a somewhat hype. We're looking at a limited list of Timorassos, of course, but I know there's an excitement about the grape, and I felt like,
Right.
yeah. And the Barolos, the 22s, unfortunately, it's not a great vintage. It's light, not a lot of definition in the wines. A few producers that I knew to be good producers who have done a good job,
Right.
but lots of producers that I don't know that seem to be making very, very approachable wines that would cause me to say, I don't see the Barolo in this
Right.
because of the vintage. The vintage,
Right.
vintage obscured the Barolo.
So, in one sentence, how would you describe Grandi Langhe?
Too short. I wish it could go 4 days because I have been in the big room visiting some
Right.
producers in the big room.
I mean, it's massive, right?
Yes.
515 wineries.
Yes, and you have to be organized when you go in. You can't
Yeah.
just walk and see someone who smiles at you and go to that table because there's not enough time.
Yeah.
But it's great. I think the visual setup with there are vertical barriers that define one producer's space. It leaves a lot of room for the producers behind the table. It leaves lots of room in front of the table, and yet the space is defined.
Yeah, and it's very compact.
Yes, and you can see for rows because the visually the design is very well done.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you can come back.
Yes, that would be great. I hope I do.
Alrighty, so that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Mary Ewing-Mullingan, for joining us. It is such an honor. Of course, the first woman master wine from stateside, and the first WSET school, the first absolutely great book, the Wine for Dummies series, with her late husband. You've done so much to the wine community, and we thank you so much what you've done so far.
And I thank you for everything that you're saying. It's been many, many years, and it's nice to remember the great hits.
Yeah, it's amazing what you've done. You are such a pioneer in every sense of the word.
No, that's are you.
Yes. Okay, so that's it. Ciao ragazzi, alla prossima.